Hi and welcome to the channel. We have less than 3 days until the full moon in Libra, until Venus goes retrograde, and I want to break these things down in a simple way that you can understand, because that is how I teach astrology as well as human design. And I think there's a lot of misconception out there about retrogrades in general, and maybe even about full moons. This is a big full moon. We're closing out a 2-year cycle. If you are single, I am right there with you. I have been single for 6 years almost, and when the North Node was in Aries and the South Node was in Libra, it was a big focus of my life because I'm a Libra rising, so the North Node was in my 7th house. I was super focused on finding a partner. I was really focused on relationships, and that was the distraction of the last 2 years, really until the nodes shifted this year on January 11th. So if you are in the same boat, I feel you. I'm right there with you. I also experience these transits, and when you're in it, you're in it, and we really don't get to see what happens and make sense of it until we're looking back. And that's really too what retrogrades give us the opportunity to do. Retrogrades are not bad. They slow things down so that we can reassess, so that we can reevaluate. And Venus specifically only goes retrograde every 18 months, every year and a half. So when it goes retrograde, it really gives us this opportunity to slow down and reassess our values, our money, our self-worth, and our relationships. And this Venus retrograde was no exception to that, since it was in the first sign of the zodiac in Aries. This has been a huge slowdown since March 1st, and Venus goes direct on April 12th, 40 minutes after the full moon in Libra this has been a huge reevaluation and reassessment of our values in terms of the ending and the beginning that we are kind of in transition between right now in our lives in a really big way. And again, retrogrades are not bad. They are recalibration periods to reassess and ultimately realign how that planet's energy has been showing up in your personal life. So like I said, for me, I have Aries ruling my 7th house, so that's where the Venus retrograde started for me, and it was actually on a couple of my personal planets, so I felt it more intensely. It's also my chart ruler, so I was feeling it a lot, and I'm feeling it a lot now, even as we get to the closing out of it, which I feel like retrogrades, they're always the most intense for me when they're about to end. I don't know if you experience that too. Let me know in the comments if you do, because I've always felt that was like kind of weird. Like, why is it the last week of the retrograde is the worst of it? But I think it's that reevaluation and that reassessment is really compounded, and we get that full clarity as the planet starts to move direct, as it starts to kind of shift in its rotation and move forward again. We get that full picture and that full clarity of what was going on for us during the actual retrograde period. And so anyways, retrogrades are just recalibrations, and I've been experiencing this in my area of relationships. And so a lot of you will notice as well that these themes that came up during the retrogrades have been kind of present for you for 2 years. And we're really wrapping that up with this full moon in Libra, and we're wrapping that up as Venus goes direct and it starts to move forward again. Now, Mercury went direct on Monday, on April 7th. I'm filming this on April 9th, Wednesday. So Mercury is already direct, and I've kind of noticed that a lot, but I still feel like I'm in this liminal space because of so much that we have in Pisces right now. We have Venus retrograde in Pisces, on the North Node, on Saturn. We have Mercury that just went direct on the North Node, and Venus and Saturn are like right together in the sky. So everything is at late degrees of Pisces. Everything is really putting our focus and our energy and our intention on what are we completing a cycle around? What is really ending in our lives in a really big way? And what is the new beginning that we're stepping into? That is Aries energy, is a big new beginning, a restarting of a cycle. It's the first sign of the zodiac, so it really begins things. And Pisces ends things. It's that liminal space when we're in the in-between. Pisces arguably is the sign that represents death and closing out of a cycle, closing out of a chapter. So everything that's in Pisces right now is really putting our focus on that. What are we closing out? What do we get clarity around that we want to leave behind? with the retrogrades themselves, right? And how can we begin in this new chapter with these breakthroughs, or with this clarity, or with this like knowledge and information that we gained during the retrograde period, when we were recalibrating our energy, when we were reassessing or refining how we want to move forward through maybe a slowdown of the energy, right? I myself, as a single person, have been realizing like, oh, you know what? I kind of like don't want to date right now. I kind of just want to like focus on me. I kind of want to focus on my work and what I'm sharing with you on YouTube, with my various social media platforms, and in my Inner Circle membership, where I'll actually be doing a workshop for the full moon on Friday evening. So if you're watching before then, come join. You can join it live and ask questions. There will be a Q&A after the workshop. If you're watching this after the fact, there will be a replay access only in the membership, only within my Inner Circle. So come join. The links in the description box, or go to astrologyhumandesign.com, and you can get to the membership through there. But I just feel like I am at this place as well. We all are at this place of a big ending, and getting clarity on what we actually want to focus on in our lives, and what we want this new beginning to be geared towards. What are we starting, and how is everything around us showing us that energy right now, showing us how we can start anew or begin again in the area of life you have Aries. Now, where this is showing up for you in the theme that, like I said, you've been experiencing probably for the last 2 years, where that's showing up for you in your actual life is going to depend on the house in your birth chart that you have Aries ruling. And I teach you to read astrology in a really simple and easy way in my Become an Astrologer course, because I believe everyone should become an astrologer, even if you're only your own astrologer. I feel like everyone should have these tools and this knowledge and this wisdom in your toolbox, in your arena of skills and tools you can use to understand yourself and your life better. So that's why I teach astrology, to empower you with this knowledge, so you don't have to rely on anyone else for it. You can consult your chart yourself and understand what's going on at any moment in time. Anytime there's a freak out, anytime there's a what's going on today, like probably because of where the moon is or what the moon is doing. So anyways, I teach that in my course, also linked in the description box, or astrologyhumandesign.com. But for me, this is showing up in my 6th and 7th houses. Now, like I said, this is going to depend on where you have Pisces and Aries in your chart for how this is going to show up for you. And if you have any personal planets in Pisces or Aries, late degrees Pisces or early degrees Aries, that's going to be amplified, because those placements are going to be touched by these transits. And like I said, I had personal planets involved in the Venus and Mercury retrograde, as well as that solar eclipse we had in Aries that I did a workshop in my Inner Circle. But it really, for me, showed up in terms of my relationships. It really was a big, do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to keep putting energy towards this? Or do I just want to live my life and let my person come to me when it's time for them to come to me? Like, why am I trying to put so much energy towards this when obviously it's just like frustrating me? And I also know my human design. I teach human design. If you're not new to my channel, you already know that. I have lots of resources on how you can learn your human design, understand it, and really live it, because it will give you these insights as well. It's like how to know when you're acting in alignment and how to know when you're maybe acting out of alignment. And for me, that warning sign is frustration. And when I am frustrated about things, it is so prominent. It is so like visceral. I'm just so annoyed and frustrated, and like it just repels everything from me. I'm a manifesting generator, so it just literally like repels anything that I want from me when I am just overly focused on the frustration and not like realizing like, oh, this probably is not what I'm meant to be doing. This is not what I'm meant to be focused on, because obviously that's my warning signal of like, no, 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 right? So I realized that this whole dating process and trying to put energy into it because of these Aries placements and the retrogrades in my 7th house, I was just like, no, I'm done. And that's what really came up for me during the retrogrades and what I reevaluated. And my recalibration process has been, I don't actually want to put energy towards that because it's only frustrating me right now. And I don't think also that we're supposed to try so hard when things are meant for us. Like, I feel like, you know, I don't chase, I attract kind of energy. So I'm really learning how to step more into that because of these retrogrades and because of where they are in my actual chart. And I'm learning as well and reassessing like, oh, there are other like things in my work, in my day-to-day life, like health and my routine, the 6th house, that I actually want to focus on and put my energy towards, that feels in a way that feels good to me, versus like putting all this energy into relationships when it's not really helping. It's not really, it's not adding to my life. It's only frustrating me. It's only draining me energetically. Like if I, you know, talk to all these men on these apps, like it just gets so frustrating and draining and energetically taxing. And that's not where I want to, that's not how I want to be spending my energy, right? Because our energy is really valuable. And the things that we are spending it on is what we are creating more of. So if we're doing things that are frustrating and we're not recalibrating, we're not realigning, then we're just going to create more things in our life that are frustrating, versus if we're really listening to that frustration and being like, oh, okay, what actually is going to bring me satisfaction? What actually is going to feel good right now? And that's just my human design. Everyone's is slightly different, but like there is a way to know through your human design, which I have a custom report about your chart that you can get from my website, astrologyhumandesign.com. It's called Unlock Your Unique Potential, and it'll break down everything in your human design. If you want to know what everything in your chart means in one place, that's a great resource to use for it through my website, astrologyhumandesign.com. But I know for me, I need to focus on what is satisfying, what feels good, because that's only going to amplify those feelings of what feels good and what is satisfying, right? And what brings me like peace ultimately, and those feel good things, versus the opposite, the other end of that spectrum is frustration, and that's not where I want to be spending my energy, because it's only going to create more frustrating things, and that's not how I want to live my life. So that's what these retrogrades have really brought up for me. And I feel like we're all in this space right now of realizing where we actually want to be putting our energy because of the retrogrades, right? We reevaluated, we're recalibrating, and that clarity or that like realization, if it hasn't come for you yet, it's probably going to come around the full moon, around Venus going direct, 40 minutes after the full moon. Full moon is technically on Saturday evening, so if something happens for you that relates to this on Saturday evening, that's exactly what it was, is the full moon and Venus going direct. And it's going to bring that clarity if you have been struggling to find it, if you feel like you haven't had it. Like things they have needed to slow down so they can come together better than they were before, right? That's what retrogrades do. And I really hope that you can see it that way, as like a needed, necessary reevaluation and recalibration, because that's truly what it is. We are closing out with this full moon a 2-year cycle that started when the eclipse seasons started in Aries and Libra, when the North Node shifted into Aries in June of 2023. So what started, what cycle, what beginning, what kind of thing were you focused on in June, July of 2023 that has still kind of been coming up for you in various ways since then, especially with the solar eclipse we just had in Aries? But really, like, what has this focus been in that area of life? You have Aries ruling in your chart for the last 2 years, and this full moon is closing out cycles in a big way related to that, especially related to what was going on 6 months for you when we had the new moon in Libra, because I have a class on this that I taught called Manifest with the Moon in my inner circle. So you can access the replay if you're in my inner circle, or you can join the membership, the inner circle, to get access to it. But I talk about how in that class, new moons begin 6-month cycles and full moons close out 6-month cycles. And eclipses, especially new moon eclipses, solar eclipses, begin 2-year cycles, right? So what was going on for you back then in the summer of 2023 that has still kind of been a focus? And this weekend, it's gonna get this big closure, this big wrapping up of a cycle, really integrating and embodying everything that was a focus for you since then. Again, in the area of life, the house in your birth chart, Aries is in, Aries and Libra are in more specifically. And there also is a lot to be said for where Chiron is right now. I'll be getting deeper into this in my workshop for the full moon on Friday. That's going to be in my inner circle. But Chiron has been in Aries since 2018, 2019. So what have you been majorly healing wounds around, or childhood traumas that relates to your independence, your relationships? That is all coming up to a head as well this weekend. Like, this full moon is a big one, and it's really going to bring a lot of healing to your life in this area of life that has been a focus not only for the last 2 years, but also for the last 6 years. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I've been single for 6 years. So for me, it's been a big healing of my relationships, what I want in a relationship, the types of relationships I have tended to attract, and how I'm really healing patterns around that so I attract different people into my life. And also a big healing of my sense of self, my identity, my self-worth, my values, because I am Venus ruled, and because Aries is really about our identity. It's really about, in general, the energy of who you are, your sense of self. The beginning of everything in your life starts with you and your identity. So that's a big part of, in general, what this healing has created for us collectively since then, when Chiron first moved into Aries. But again, the area of life it's showing up for you is going to depend on the house that you have Aries ruling in your chart. So I want you to double check that, post it in the comments, let me know how this resonates, how this is showing up for you, and also look at where is Libra in your chart, because that's going to be brought up with the full moon we have this weekend. So big closing out of a chapter and really big new beginning is happening, and I just want you to feel excited. I just hope that this inspired you. I hope that this gave you some understanding and insight into what retrogrades actually are and why you may be feeling this big closing out of something huge in your life right now, and things not working like they used to, because they can't work like they used to in order to move forward and have this new beginning in a new way that's actually going to be more in alignment for you ultimately. So I'm really excited about it. Come join my inner circle if you want to join the workshop on the full moon. And you can also go find the weekly horoscope video I did on my channel to learn more about how this full moon is impacting you, and the transits of this week have been impacting you based on your rising sign. I will link that video in the description. Remember, it's fine, it's all divine. So sit with whatever comes up, release it. It's coming up so you can heal it and not take it with you into this new beginning. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this inspired you. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!